Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to 2025. I am Marion, the Inappropriate Artist. This is my van. I am a landscape painter who's out painting all 50 states. That's my goal, is to paint all 50 states. And I am writing a book about my experience. It is a 10-year project. I am 5 years in. And thank you, thank you, thank you to my patrons on Patreon who have been continuing to support me all this time. And if anybody else would like to join that family, there's a link below in the description. Hit that little arrow where it says more. Expand the box. There's more. I also have wish lists and links to my Instagram to view paintings and all the stuff. All the stuff is below in the description. So please check that out. And welcome to all of my new subscribers. I truly appreciate you. This has been kind of a little bit of a whirlwind for me. I left New Mexico in May to do a Pacific Northwest loop. And this latest string of videos encompassing that has just taken off for me. I'm excited to see views over 1,000. That thrills me. I haven't had that yet in my experience, other than one video, and so thank you for that. I also am grateful for all of the feedback I'm getting in the comments. I do have a block on my comment section. So if you're posting ugly things, I'm really happy to say that I don't get to see them. Really happy to say that I don't get to see them. I made a mistake of viewing them once, and I will never do it again. I value my life and my mental health way too much for that. So know that if you are a troll, hi. You get, I don't know why you're watching me if you find me so horrible. So, go away. Shoo. Shoo fly. Yeah. So, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to 2025. And let's hold on to our hats. But I feel like every year feels that way. Every year I go into the year like, wow, just hold on to your hats. It's going to be a bumpy ride. It always feels like something new. And it really isn't. Because life is just going to continue to keep happening. And, I hate to say it, but we as humans, we don't really learn too well. Sadly, we don't. A few generations go by and everybody starts resorting to old thinking. And, and instead of accepting responsibility for their own fears, they like to point fingers at other people. So it's a human response. It's a very sad one. I, however, choose to not participate. And I choose to view my life in a joyful way. And if you want to join me, hit that subscribe button below and notification bell, and it'll notify you every time I put out a video. I have jumped ahead. So what you are watching right now are my travels from May to mid-May to end of October. And I did a Pacific Northwest loop, right? And I added 5 more states to my roster. So now I have been to and photographed 34 states. I have painted, I believe, 26 or 29 of them. I have to recount. I want some of them that I've painted, I want to do larger paintings of. Some of them I'm just finished with, right? Like I have painted a ton of Texas. There's very little left that I want to do of Texas, maybe Big Bend. But it's not a necessity because I've collected enough out of that state. Florida, same thing. Collected plenty out of that state. Um, and, I could say the same thing for New Mexico. I've definitely painted a lot of New Mexico. And I painted a lot of Moab as well. Although there's one or two of the paintings that I did in Moab that are in my sketchbook that I'd like to do larger. So, but that's not necessarily part of the book project, just something I'd like to do. All of my paintings are for sale. I photograph them before they go out so I can use them in the book. Simple as that. If I feel that I would like a better image of something, I keep track of who owns what, so I can always contact somebody. And if I have missed you, I'll put out a call on here and say, hey, if you bought this painting, do me a solid, message me. Because if I have to have it photographed and you've already had it framed, then I will pay for the unframing, the photographing, and then the reframing of the piece. That's how that would roll. I plan at the time of getting ready for publishing to have funding to be able to accomplish that task. I am looking at artists in residency this year. I'm definitely applying to a few different situations, but they will be years out from now, so it's not an immediate thing because there's wait lists for a lot of these things. So what I would like to do is I would like to get an artist in residency here in the state of New Mexico. And I would like to do a national parks artist in residency. So these are things I'm applying to. I'm also working with other organizations to further the project. And one of them is an adult autism center in South Carolina, of which I can't think of the name of, but I work with them, and I have my coach comes through there. Thank you. It's been an amazing year and a half working with a coach. Holy crap. So if you are late diagnosed, I get it. Because I'm still learning. Oh, geez. Speaking of which, I have to feed myself. I am still learning how to take care of myself. It has been a really rough road. I don't do well without a routine, and on the other side of it, I really struggle with routine. It's fun to have two. But I have now a coach. I actually have two coaches. And one of them, actually, one is more of a peer rather than a coach. One of them is definitely my coach. And they help me with forms. They help me with research. They help me with the things that become overwhelming that have halted me from taking steps toward applying to things like artists in residency. Right? So, because I have such a phobia and I'm so dyslexic, and it becomes astronomically exaggerated when I'm in those situations. So, I mean, I can read. However, the second I am under any amount of stress, everything on that page starts to rearrange. So, I need help with that. And I have no shame in asking for that any longer. I was told I was stupid by adults all my life. So it took a lot to get through that ugly voice that still hangs out in my head because it got said so much. So please be careful with your words. Really, seriously. You know, I'm so sick and tired of people saying words don't have value or words aren't important or whatever somebody said to you is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, true. However, as the spewer of the words, maybe some thought. Just maybe some thought. And yes, you hear frustration in my voice because I was definitely bullied, both by kids and adults. So yeah, this is an important topic to me. As a 52-year-old woman, still watching people be bullied the same way I was bullied, and then being bullied by the people online. Like I said about that filter, so grateful for it, because otherwise, you know, I don't need to be reminded of things that I have spent years working through. I don't need them constantly thrown back at me as if I am still 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. And I feel sorry for you if you're the person leaving these comments. Your life is so sad and pathetic and so empty that you have to throw vitriol at me. Look it up. You can Google it with a microphone if you don't know how to spell it. There's no shame in not being able to spell. I'm a creative speller, have been my whole life. I use voice to text for all of my writing. I edit the way anybody else would edit, but when it comes to actually writing, I need, for a multitude of reasons, but also because of this. The connection between this and this can get very quickly lost. So better for me to do it through voice. Anyway, for this new year, I know for my own self, I want to be more gentle with myself. I have worked to quiet these voices, and I want to continue to excel at quieting them until hopefully they really don't have a place to exist anymore. And part of me relearning how to do things in my life, and my coach helps me do that, is to not to do things by abusing myself, right? Because that was always a tactic I used. It was a coping mechanism. I would beat myself into submission until I did the task, verbally or in my head. Because when I was growing up, that was how people got me to do stuff. So I had to reuse that same language in order to get myself to do stuff. Then I started to own it because I said it so much, right? So the therapy is about releasing all of that, about not owning those voices. It started with someone saying to me once, think about whose voice it is that is saying those things in your head. Whose voice is saying it? Is it yours or is it somebody else's? And if it's somebody else's, then it's not yours and you don't have to own it. And it was a wonderful thing to say to me, but I had no tools to apply that thinking. And it worked really hard for me to get to a point where I could start to apply it. And for almost every task in my life, I still have to go through this process. However, I am slowly but surely, with every time my voice sets, my acceptance of all of this as not a hindrance to my gifts, but an actual boost, right? Because okay, so a wonderful thing that I heard um, when listening to the book Big Magic by Liz Gilbert was she talked about how in Roman times or Roman, back in the days of the Renaissance and things of that, or maybe before the Renaissance, they talked about being visited by genius. Not being a genius, but being visited by genius. And that makes way more sense to me. And what I think that also entails is being open to collaborating and working with others to achieve the vision I've been given. And the more people I include, the more beautiful it becomes. Because it's not just about our abilities, but it's about the energy that we put into whatever that project is. And so, in me sitting here and asking all of you to participate with my projects, I'm asking you to help me create something with such amazing, beautiful, joyful energy. That's what I want to achieve. And it's not a me, it's a we. I want us to achieve it. So when the book comes out and you're reading through the book and looking at all the paintings, you know you are a part of the whole thing and made it possible for that to actually be sitting there in front of you. So I could put this in corporate terms, but quite honestly, I don't want to, because I don't want corporate to be anything about this. My hope is to be able to self-publish with the support of all of you and those who join us in the future. And for those of you who've had to drop off financially, it's okay, because y'all did what you did when you could, and thank you. And I've gotten this far because of you. So, dude, if all you were ever able to do was provide me with emotional support on my toughest days, that was priceless. Priceless. So, $5, and people would say, I'm sorry, this is all I have. Oh my gosh, you have no idea how many times that $5 saved my insurance from bouncing, right? Because of fees that I didn't know were going to hit. So, because like it would have, like the fee hit and it put me 2 cents behind. But your $5 made sure that my insurance still got paid. And when I was on the road, especially, or when I am on the road, that's a really big deal. Alleviating that financial stress is a huge deal, because I have enough stress finding safe places to camp and be without that. So thank you. And this coming year, I'd like to put 14 more states. And the reason why I say 14, and y'all are like, but it does mean I want to make a big loop. And I knew this loop was going to be coming. Sorry for the jiggle jiggle. Nugget just decided to hop around. I'd like to go on a loop that takes me up through, up into upper New York State. And so it makes sense for me to go through a bunch of states that I haven't gone to. And I think that I have mapped out a way for me to be able to include them all. I don't know if I can, but I would really like to try. It does mean possibly either leaving earlier and coming back later. I don't know. It could mean a few different things, but there's only one way that that's going to happen. And that's if I can get my hands on a box truck. So, with all this amazing, beautiful, positive energy that we create together, help me manifest a box truck that can house all of my needs and the way my body is changing, and make it possible for me to live more comfortably in a way that truly brings me joy. Just to be on wheels. I love being on wheels. Okay, that's enough. This has gone on far too long. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for joining this family here on my channel. And I hope you take an opportunity to check out my Patreon. I know I don't post a whole lot for free members because social media is social media, and it is what it is. But I am looking to increase that number. If I can get Patreon to a membership count and an income that makes it possible for me to not have to do this all the time. And by this, I mean the ask, right? I'd like it to just be a simple, please check it out kind of thing, and nothing more than that. But what I need to do is be able, my goal is to have 1,000 members on Patreon. And that's not by the end of the year or anything like that. This is just a goal I would like to reach at some point in the future to fund the publishing of this project, as well as finishing up gaining the content, right? Because I still have 16 more states, and be able to propel me possibly into a new project. So I am thinking that this may not be my one and only book, right? I have a couple books in my head, at least. So check out my Patreon. Happy New Year to all of you. And I hope it's a safe and abundant new year for all of us. May it be peaceful, full of love, and true joy. Joy in experiencing all the moments that we are gifted. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.